like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Hi, I'm John Malos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Thursday morning. Today we're talking about the Legion of Valor here in the city of Fresno. And you, my friends, are more than welcome to call in at 436-MeTV option 11. Do turn down the sound. This is a first-time guest here on Connect with Me. You're watching us on Comcast 187 and 43.6. We'll be here for the full 60 minutes. 1 hour. Back in just a moment. Great show today here on Connect with Me. Hope you can stick around for the full hour. Hope you can call in at 436-MeTV option 11 because I feel like we're doing a veterans show here today, and in a way we are. We're honoring our veterans. We've had several veterans appear on this program, of course, the latest being Earl the Pearl Watson last week. But this show here today, I've been wanting to try to put a show like this together for the longest period of time, just never had the opportunity until today. And we're talking about the Legion of Valor. And I want to ask you the question here at home. How many of you know that the Legion of Valor Museum is the only one of its kind in the entire country, across the fruited plain, my friend? From here to the East Coast, there is no museum like this in the entire country. We have it right here in the city of Fresno. And the sole purpose of having that museum is to honor those who served and gave up their lives and put their lives on the line for our country. I want to take you inside the Legion of Valor Museum here in the city of Fresno, show you what it looks like. That's it from the outside. It houses all sorts of military memorabilia, artifacts, photographs, documents, official citations, and actual uniforms worn by U.S. veterans. They actually have about 50 of those uniforms on display in the lobby of that museum, but they have hundreds more stored away for safekeeping. Every item inside the museum, from a document to a uniform, has been donated by someone, either a military veteran or a relative or a friend of a veteran. If you look in the dictionary, the word valor means great courage in the face of danger. That's why the Legion of Valor was established back in 1890 to honor those who defend our country with incredible courage and commitment, and to promote patriotism. 23 years ago, in 1991, the Legion of Valor Museum came to life, and as mentioned, the only one of its kind in the entire country. Those who are members have received the Medal of Honor, and second to that, 3 crosses that exist: the Distinguished Service Cross for the Army, the Navy Cross, and the Air Force Cross. The Legion of Valor has elected officials or officers, including a national commander and 2 vice commanders and a board of directors. Well, my friends, live in our studio right now is Mike Harris. There he is, a first-time guest here on Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. He is the director of the Legion of Valor here in Fresno, the museum. You know, when I found this out, that this is the only museum of its kind in the entire country, I was kind of shocked and flabbergasted. But we have it right here in our own city, and it's 23 years old. And for you to go down and see all of these artifacts would be a great way to spend an afternoon. They're open, I believe, from 10 to 3 each day, Monday through Friday. We'll talk more about the hours of operation with Mike here. And any questions you want, 436-MeTV, option 11. Do call in. Do turn down the sound. Back with our military program here on Connect with Me in just a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, And now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
A great show lined up here on Connect with me today, 436 MeTV option 11, and talking about the Legion of Valor Museum. Mike Harris is here. Good to see you, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well, John. Good morning.
Good morning. Try not to swivel in that chair too much because you're going to make me dizzy, my friend. How are you, sir?
Good.
Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for coming in so early. I appreciate it very much. So did I get all the facts right about the Legion of Valor?
We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 till 3.
Oh, 10 till 3, okay.
And if I can add, we're probably one of the only venues in Fresno that's free to the public. There's no admission fee.
You don't have to pay to get in.
Correct.
Okay, so I was stunned to find out that this is the only museum of its kind in the entire country. There's no other Legion of Valor museum anywhere, right?
That's correct. Our museum is unique in the fact that, well, first of all, it's the correct name for our facility is the Veterans Memorial Museum.
Okay.
The Legion of Valor itself is like a 125-year-old fraternal organization comprised of those men and women that have won the nation's highest honors.
That would be the Medal of Honor.
The Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Crosses, and Navy Cross, Air Force Cross. We are their home headquarters. That's what sets us apart from everyone else in the country. We hold their archives, records, documents, and some artifacts going back as far as the Civil War in their original condition. And we have those in a secured room to where they are available for inspection and examination, and but they're highly guarded and well kept.
Wow. So how did it end up that Fresno ended up with this museum? It's the only one of its kind in the country.
Well, the original mover and shaker for the museum, Mr. Chuck Munges, Marine Colonel, had this concept of building this museum, incorporating all the different aspects of veterans organizations around the valley. He was able to get the city council to let us have the building in lieu of it being empty and basically being destroyed by transients and so forth. The veterans organizations cleaned it up, got some grant money to fix it up, and then we have today what we have today, largely in part because of Chuck.
Tell us where it's located.
We're at the corner of N Street, between N and M Street on Fresno Street, right across from the big water tower.
Oh, we got a map up there as to the location of the Legion of Valor Museum here in the city of Fresno. And it's a great way to honor our veterans, those who put their lives on the line for our country, even the ones who put their lives on the line and made it through. They didn't die in service or in combat, but yet they made the ultimate sacrifice in some way, shape, or form.
Correct. There's many untold stories about heroism and acts of valor and courageousness that probably never will be brought to light, and many of those can be found right there in our museum. We have men there that were shot down over Nazi Germany and bombers. We have men that were wounded in Korea and had to escape and evade the communists, and just a whole litany of real stories that you can talk with these fellows about and get the first-hand saga of their service.
All right, there's a piece of videotape that we want to run. It's called Pearl Harbor Room. I'm kind of intrigued just by the name. It has all the Pearl Harbor artifacts in it. There it is up on the monitor there. You can tell us what we're looking at there, because we all know about Pearl Harbor. We've read about it. We've seen movies about it and what happened there off the coast of Hawaii. So tell us about this room.
Okay, this room, it is a unique portion of our museum. There's an organization called the Pearl Harbor Survivors, and they were instrumental in donating the bulk of this collection of artifacts that we have, and they, because of their age, they have dwindled down to such a small number that a couple years ago they actually donated their treasury to us. So we could keep this room in perpetuity and never allow it to, fade away in the memory of World War II and the specific attack at Pearl Harbor. So that's what this room is dedicated to, and there's some really unique artifacts in there. We actually
Such
have,
as?
well, we actually have the radio telephone that came off of the USS Missouri.
Really?
For any communications to the shore. I suspect it was probably the one that MacArthur called the president on and declared the war being over. That's quite a piece. And another collection of memorabilia from the battle itself. You know, shrapnel, things like that nature that actually were.
So when I walk in there, what will I learn about Pearl Harbor maybe that I didn't know before, Mike?
Well, I would recommend there's a video that plays in that room that describes the attack at Pearl Harbor, and my recommendation is just first watch that video, and that puts a connection to the artifacts that you'll see in that room.
Yeah. Do you think there's more of an affection now for military veterans than there has been in years past and in recent memory? And if that's true, is it because, in part, of the book that Tom Brokaw wrote about the Greatest Generation?
I do believe so, and a result of that are the things like the honor flights that we've started here in Fresno, you know, along with others around the country, where the country recognized that these fellows that came home from World War II, being a little different from the current conflicts, some of those guys were gone for 4 years, where now, you know, the terms of deployment are a lot shorter. So I think the appreciation for what these men did back in that era is more scrutinized and looked at with a much more an affectionate eye.
We have more of an affection for our veterans now than we did during the Vietnam era. Is that right?
I do believe so, yes. Well, I'm sure of it. The Vietnam era, those guys, it was such an unpopular war. And this was the first war, if you go back and think about, was in everyone's living room every evening. And so those folks that got tired of watching this, tired of the carnage and the treasure being spent on something that was kind of deemed not worth it, not in our interest, didn't make it a very popular war.
Right. And even now, in just recent memory, there are a lot of people that were opposed to the war in Iraq, and many of those people thought that we should have never gone in there. And so there is sympathy for those coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan as well.
Correct. The Iraqi war, I believe, was, in my perspective, was more or less a humanitarian effort to get that country away from another Hitler.
Yeah.
And there has always been that faction of our public that don't believe that, or that do not believe that we should be involved in conflicts overseas that has nothing to do with us. But in a sense, any type of humanitarian effort that you produce around the globe does have something to do with us, because we are a very caring and humanitarian type country. And so we do go in and we police the world sometimes, and maybe to the extent that's not palatable to our public, certainly not to our budgets, but we do, I still think, do the right thing and have our just causes.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you coming in this morning. Got to take a break. Mike Harris, the director of the Legion of Valor Museum here in the city of Fresno. And you can call in, ask Mike a question. We're here to honor our veterans today, here the day before the 4th of July. And you can call in, 436-MeTV, option 11. Do turn down the sound when you do call in. Back in a moment.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on ENERGY STAR qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the KitchenAid appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Save big with KitchenAid. Right now, get up to a $1,000 prepaid MasterCard when you purchase select KitchenAid appliances. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Got a call coming out of the break here on Connect with Me. Good morning, caller. What's your question? Okay. Got to have some patience, right, Mike? 436 MeTV option 11. Remember, turn down the sound when you call in. Can't have that sound on your TV set up because we won't be able to hear you. Another call coming in. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me, and your question, please.
Well, I just had a couple of comments to make.
Okay.
I am a person who is of the age that I was born during World War II. So I grew up with the history of it, being recent history. And I want to say that when those men were drafted and or joined up, they went in for the duration, not just a rotation. And I want to say there's a couple of T-shirt slogans I've seen recently that I wholeheartedly advocate. One of them being, heroes don't wear capes, they wear dog tags. Another one being, we are the land of the free because of the brave. And I think that anybody who is against our soldiers going to war to protect our interests just have no comprehension of the attitude of bullies and or Hitler-type personalities who use force to take over other people. And so I would very much like to see this museum, although I don't have transportation to get into Fresno.
Oh, where do you live?
Thank you for being on the air.
Ma'am, where do you live?
Out in Carruthers.
Carruthers. Is there any way that she can get transportation over there to see the museum, Mike, or any possible suggestions?
I do know that there's a bus service that goes out to Fireball and Mendota. I don't know if it extends as far as Carruthers or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did, because it does service the rural Fresno County area.
Okay. Well, maybe try to check those situations out, ma'am, and I'm not sure what to tell you how to get to the museum, but we hope you can maybe find a friend that can drive you in.
I'll keep that in mind. Another thing, all of my family members on my mother's side did essential services, even though they weren't in the military. And my youngest brother's father-in-law was a civilian survivor of Pearl Harbor. And he had some stories to tell. Unfortunately, none of them ever got written down. So, if anybody knows people from that era, get their information now while they're there.
Yeah. So
it doesn't get lost.
Yeah, that's true. And, I just want to give you the hours of operation for the Legion of Valor in case you have a friend or a relative, ma'am, that can drive you in. They're open from, 10 to 3, Monday through Saturday, Mike?
Correct.
Okay. So did you get the hours there?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling in, and thank you for your interest. I really appreciate it very much. And it is true. How important is it? Because my father served in World War II, and I feel bad now because he's gone, and I didn't ask him enough about the war back then. How important is it to talk to your relative, someone who's been in the war, take notes, and document some of the stories they have? How important is that?
Oh, I think that's a tremendous part of our American history and heritage, to always remember those sacrifices and why we have the freedoms in this country that we enjoy. They weren't just handed to us. They were earned through blood, sweat, and tears on many occasions. And anytime you document that tale of the soldier or the airman or seaman, and keep a record of it where it's factual, there's always going to be an interest by a certain segment of our population that does want to reflect on it and does want to learn from it.
All right. Mike Harris is here from the Legion of Valor. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Great museum, great topic. I have a question for your guest that was brought up by the previous caller. Is there an oral history program going on there at the museum? Because I got a great uncle who can carry on at length about his war experiences, and it's very, very interesting stuff. And like the other caller observed, when they're gone, they're gone. The oral history, unless it's written down or recorded, is going to be lost to the ages, and it seems like a really sad thing because, of course, everybody wants to hear the serviceman's perspective on the war experience. Mike, is there something like that in the works?
Well, we don't have that program essentially at the museum, but we do host those projects occasionally. Fresno State has a tremendous collection of those stories that they do as a class project continuously. And there's a local writer here in Fresno, Janice Stevens, who's done a couple books called Tales of Service, I believe they're entitled. She will sit down and take those stories down and actually do them in her book. You know, according to...
Is she a local person?
She's a local lady, yes.
Yeah.
And I think she frequents the Clovis Memorial, the district out there quite often.
Yeah.
But those are the two readily available outlets for these or manners in which a person can get those stories recorded.
Yeah.
I can't think of offhand the fellow at Fresno State that runs the program, but it is there.
All right. Another call coming in. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Your question?
Yes. I've been to the museum over there, and it's really good, and it tells you about our country, the true colors. And I even took my kids there. It shows how the veterans helped keep our country free, and it is very, and it makes you stop. It makes you stop and think how the people think, and I really like it. I even took my kids there and my whole family.
Yeah, I can hear your kids in the background there.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
When I go there, I see the true history of our country.
Well, I appreciate the call very much. And is that the same kind of reaction you get from most people?
We entertain or host approximately 11 to 12,000 visitors a year through our facility. And I have never heard anyone have a negative comment about the facility. And we have two comments that we hear every day we open the doors. People walk in the door and they'll say wow as they scan around towards the ceilings, and they'll turn around and say, gee, I didn't know this was here, because it is one of the unfortunately kept secrets of Fresno that the public just does not know about.
Yeah.
And that is actually a travesty, because the folks, when they come in, they're always very appreciative of what they see, very complimentary, and most of them put a donation in the donation box, and that's what we survive on.
And that's why you're here, to get the message out too. This is good publicity for you and your museum. A lot of people see this show.
Right.
So Mike Harris is here, the director of the Legion of Valor Museum in the city of Fresno. 436 MeTV option 11. The phone lines, my friends, belong to you, and they're open. Call in. Do turn down the sound. We're here until 11 a.m. Back in a moment.
Don't you ever hit me again!
Chief, I think we got a hit on our hands.
MeTV Fresno, now on Comcast Channel 187.
Another phone call here on Connect with Me, talking about the Legion of Valor. Good morning, caller. What's your question?
Yes, I was wondering if there's a contact number for the museum or somebody connected to it where we might possibly contribute to the oral history part of things.
Yes, our number is area code 559-498-0510. That's the office and the museum.
And what about that lady that you said was connected with the university that takes the stories?
That would be Janice Stevens. She's a local author here in Fresno. She's has a couple books about our veterans. I think they're entitled Stories of Service. And then the fellow at Fresno State, his name is Professor Gary Rice.
Rice, R-I-C-E?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead and leave her up. What's that again? Ma'am?
How is his name spelled?
Gary Rice, like rice.
Oh, okay. And is there a phone number for him?
It would be at Fresno State University, ma'am. I don't have that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate the phone call. That would be Janice Stevens?
Correct.
Janice Stevens. And your number out there is what, again?
498-0510.
0510. There are all sorts of stories coming out, of course, of World War II, Vietnam, all the wars, Korea. That's almost like the Forgotten War, is it not? Why do they call it the Forgotten War, by the way? Before we roll another piece of videotape here, I want to find out your opinion.
Well, it would be my perspective and opinion, certainly. Korea got active in 1950, shortly after World War II, and many of the fellows that fought in World War II were recalled up as they were in reserve units and so forth, and sent to Korea. And since Korea was never a declared war, they entitled it a police action. It never got the glamour and the glory of the greatest generation, and basically beating back the Nazis and the Japanese Empire. This was a local conflict, so I don't think at that period of time it got quite the attention that World War II did, because that was truly a global conflict.
Yeah. Another piece of videotape, displays. There are so many displays, hundreds and hundreds of displays that you can look at when you walk into the museum. We're going to show some of those displays right now. And Mike, you can look up on the monitor and talk about some of the artifacts that you've taken out. What display is that?
Okay, this display is a depiction of naval ships, and they are all models. And there's a fellow by the name of Roland Waite, I believe is his name, that built those in his garage some years back. And they are a depiction of most of the type of naval vessels that were used during the World War II era.
Interesting. What do we got there now?
This is a mural that we have on our wall in our largest room. It shows the emblem and the crest of the Legion of Valor of the United States, along with the Iwo Jima raising of the flag.
Okay, keep that video rolling, and we don't want to get off that video, but we do have a call. Caller, you're on the line. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I got a question. Does the Legion of Valor have any affiliation with the Patton Library or something on Scirocco Summit?
No, sir. Nothing that I'm aware of. I've never heard that.
Okay, I was just the General Patton Museum. That's the question I had. But anyhow, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, thanks for calling in. And the display here is what?
This is a part of a personal collection that was brought home by Art Hill, who was one of the former directors of the museum. Things that he gathered during his time in
Looked like a Nazi flag
France
there.
and Germany, yes.
It was a Nazi flag that we saw there?
Yes, it was, yes.
Yeah, it was. Just a quick moment here before we roll some more tape that we can look at. Now, our number here is 436 MeTV option 11. Do turn down the sound when you call in. Just one quick story I did get out of my father before he died, and that's that he was being transported to the East Coast so he could be deployed overseas, and stopped off in Chicago. And at that time, he had a friend who played Major League Baseball. His name was Stan Hack, played for the Chicago Cubs. And they let all servicemen in free to every Major League game across the country. And he got to sit on the bench with the Chicago Cubs in a game that was in the late 30s or early 40s. And that was one of the highlights for him that he was able to. But you hear thousands of stories like that every year, I'm sure.
Yes, there's a great appreciation, I think, for the veterans of this country. It's like Applebee's will give you 10% off or something like that. Sometimes you'll get an appreciation for something, or they'll see your hat, whatever, and you get a discount.
But back then, my father told me that if you were in the service during World War II, you got just about everything for free. You got a game for free. You got a meal for free. It was, they...
Well, I never saw any of that, but I'm sure in those days the appreciation, and I think the patriotism in our country was at a much higher level than it is today.
Yeah.
Because everybody in those days during World War II era were involved in the war in some manner of speaking. You had to save your aluminum foil. You got gas coupons. Everybody had to deal with World War II.
Yeah.
So I think it was much more appreciation for it.
Yeah, the whole country came together, so to speak, almost as we did back in the early 90s, the Gulf War. Remember that?
Correct, right.
We came together.
We had parades on Blackstone and everything.
Yeah. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. Your question. Hello? Okay, you got to turn down your sound. Hello? Are you there, caller?
Hello?
Yeah, turn down the sound on your TV set, or you can't hear us and we can't hear you. Turn it down, please. Hello? We're waiting.
Yes.
Okay. You got to turn down the sound on your TV set. Oh, okay. All right. 436 MeTV, option 11. We got to take a break. Remember, if you're out there watching us on television and you pick up the phone and call, you have to turn the sound down or we get this long delay, and I keep saying, are you there? Are you there? So we don't want to do that, but you're welcome to call in because our phone lines are open right now. Call in. We're back in just a moment. We're here for another half hour.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on ENERGY STAR qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Back here on Connect with me for the second half hour live on the showroom floor at Ventura TV, and we do sometimes get calls to come in. We have one call coming in now, and if you're listening to us right now on your television set and you're calling in, turn down the sound on your TV set before you do. Otherwise, we can't put you on the air. You're more than welcome to call in. Good morning, caller. Hope you got your TV set down. What's your question? Hello? Caller?
Well,
you're on the air. Go ahead.
What is the importance of the Nazi flag on the general patent display?
Well, there's no importance to the Nazi flag. What the flag represents is a memento or an artifact from World War II. You know, the same as the Japanese flag or a samurai sword or something like that. It's just an artifact as part of a memento someone brought home. There's no.
So it's just a part of the display, so that it shows the importance of what they fought against.
I guess you could interpret it that way. You know, just like we have a hand grenade from both sides of the conflict. We have weapons of different descriptions from both sides of the conflict. Just memorabilia and artifacts that were actually used in these conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I'm happy that it's at the bottom of the display. That shows the importance that the bad things in our lives can be overcome so that we can have the good things to survive on.
I believe, yeah, you're correct in that assessment, I suppose.
Yeah. Any other questions, caller?
No, absolutely not. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Do call in 436-MeTV option 11 and do turn down the sound. So I want to roll another piece of videotape and we can talk about some of these artifacts here. And the one I want to roll next is Flight of the Nighthawk. And there's so much to see in the Legion of Valor Museum that you could spend all day there and still not see everything. All right, Mike, what are we looking at here?
Okay, this is a display that we just completed just a few weeks ago. Most people, I think, that are longtime Fresnans know that in World War II, the crux of Fresno and the Valley's military connection was Hammer Field. And we incidentally are doing a new display that will be coming shortly that's going to be pretty extensive about Hammer Field. But what you're looking at here, that's actually a piece of a fuselage from a P-70 Nighthawk that crashed in Yosemite back in 1944. It killed the two airmen. That big machine gun on top was another relic that was taken from that crash. Just last summer I went up to Yosemite and brought that back for the museum. It's just another example of artifacts that tells a story about what Hammer Field did during World War II and the significance of its training capacity to the military. And
what did Hammer Field contribute?
Well, they trained many pilots to fly as well as navigation techniques. And that particular bomber you saw was one of the very first to incorporate radar. It was when the radar was in its infancy, And of course, it was all experimental things, and I suspect probably led to some of the demise of some of these guys that were out in the nighttime flying these things. Thus the name Nighthawk, because it was a new technology that hadn't been perfected yet.
When you have somebody come into the museum, what's the one universal question they all ask? I know you talked about some of the comments coming out after they've been in there, like, wow, I didn't know this existed. But what's the one question they have when they walk in?
It's usually, how long do the parking meters last? But,
we need to talk to our city council about that. Anyway.
Actually, if you come in the museum and get a parking pass, the parking is free. You can just get one, put it on your dash.
But I mean, what's the one question that people have when they walk in the museum and they see these artifacts?
I think probably, to surmise that down to one question, it would be of the docents, which conflict they fought in, what action they saw, and things like that. It gets to a personal nature with the fellows that are
And
on
are the
staff.
veterans, even the veterans who served, are they impressed when they walk in?
Oh, very much so. Most of them very appreciative that this stuff is being saved for posterity. You know, they are most impressed by it.
Okay, another call coming in. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. What's your question?
Intriguing footage there, that crash in Yosemite, and I never heard about that. I don't know why that hasn't been publicized more. But my question is that Fresno base was entrusted with that, well, I guess what was considered secret technology at the time, or stealthy technology at the time, that I guess only the English had aircraft-borne radar. So, hey, that's kind of a feather in the cap for Hammer Field. If you lived in Fresno around the time of the war, what kind of aircraft would you see, like in a pattern, circling or final approach, taking off from, I guess we call it FYI now, but back then it was called Hammerfield. What kind of aircraft came and went? Because I know there's a ton of wrecks in the Sierra just outside of Fresno. A lot of the men that were trained there maybe were not seasoned enough, or inexperienced and didn't deal with the turbulence and stuff. Mike, could you talk about what kind of aircraft we would have seen if we were like standing at the fence there on McKinley and looking in?
Well, I'm certainly no expert on Hammer Field, but I do know that some of the aircraft that were very prolific there were the B-24 bombers, the B-25 Mitchells, this Nighthawk that you saw on the screen. There was a flight of, I think, P-47 Thunderbolts that were there, and then all the observation aircraft that you could probably think of. And I've been told the P-38 Lightning, a few of those were there. And, of course, the Mustangs, when they came out, they were the most desired fighter aircraft, and I do know some of those were there. So there's a whole myriad of aircraft that were there, so you could see just about anything on any given day. But
I do want to talk about Honor Flight. You went, we've had 3 of them now here in the city of Fresno.
Correct.
You were on the first Honor Flight. Did you go as a Guardian?
Yes. Al Perry, the director of that program, he approached us about a year before that and wanted assistance in how fundraising and so forth. And so we, as the museum, offered what we could towards facility for their use and for the training of Guardians and so forth. And I did go on the first flight as a Guardian.
Now, Honor Flight, in case people haven't heard about it, it's this national program. Fresno is a part of it, where World War II veterans are able to go for free of charge to Washington, D.C. to view the World War II Memorial. There it is right there up on your screen. You've seen it live and in person. Mike, and you were a Guardian. And what does a Guardian do? They actually go along with the veteran and protect the veteran and help and assist?
Right. The Guardian's assigned to the different veterans or someone that you get picked by them to go with them. Basically, they're with them for 24 hours a day, nonstop. And because these gentlemen, for the most part, are in their late 80s and 90s, they do need some assistance. And so you're there to push their transport chair if necessary, to make sure they get to all the different locations on the buses and so forth. You're just basically there as a Guardian. You're watching out for their well-being.
That was an absolutely stunning view of the Washington Monument at night. Of course, you see that live as you go there during the day, and we're going to come out now. And, what was that experience like for you? going as a guardian?
Well, the gentleman I took, Mr. J.B. Overstreet from Madeira, he was a World War II soldier in the Army. He was dropped in Africa. They beat Rommel's forces back. Then he was taken to Sicily, then to Italy, and then went up to the Swiss border. He walked basically across Europe and then taken around into France. So he was gone over 3 years from his family and friends during this conflict. When I took him up to the monument, there's a plaque there that explains the significance of these gold stars that are on the wall. There are hundreds of these gold stars, and each gold star represents 100 men lost. Well, and I brought him up to this particular wall. He started reflecting, and so I just stepped back a minute and let him have a few moments, and which turned out to be probably 5 minutes. And then I saw a tear stream down his eye. And so then
was he in a wheelchair?
He was in what we call them transport chairs.
Okay.
But I asked him, kind of guessing at what his thought process was, JB, what was his name? And he spit out the name of this young fellow who was shot through the head, who was his platoon commander. And he had been taken back to that conflict in Italy to where he lost his friend.
Yeah.
Emotions were powerful there. You know, everything from laughter to tears, and the appreciation is just overwhelming by everybody on that location that comes up to these guys and greets them.
Yeah.
Very powerful visit to that monument.
So how do you think this has helped the veterans? How do you think this has helped us, many of us who weren't even alive during World War II, did not serve in the military? How does that help us as a nation to have a program in place called Honor Flight?
Well, I think it's a tribute to these guys that the public and the population of this country can actually see and feel. What they do for these people in the form of donations to help these guys get back there. And there are over 5,000 World War II veterans still left in the San Joaquin Valley in our local region.
5,000?
5,000. And we're losing those guys at, a number every day. And, it won't be that many more years until they'll be gone. Because like you say, that war was over 70 years ago. They were 20-something then. So you got to do the math, and you can see where, their lifespan is about over.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They're upwards of late 80s, early 90s,
Correct.
Some in their mid-90s. Earl the Pearl Watson was here a couple of weeks ago, and he's written a book, an interesting character he is,
Yes,
and a lot of life left in him. There's no question about it. He might be, I forget what age, what is he, 91, 92? I forget. 92 years old, and he has the energy of a 50 or a 60-year-old guy. It's amazing.
Right, I've met Earl. Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about, and he does have a high energy level.
Yeah. All right, it's good to see him, and good to see you here today, Mike. Mike Harris is here. Got to take another break. He is the director of the Legion of Valor Museum in the city of Fresno. After the break, we'll put the map up and show you where it's located one more time. A lot more video to get to. Hey, and a lot more of your phone calls. I see the phone lines are open. 436-MeTV option 11. Hope they're not for long. Turn down the sound. Back in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
I love a joke.
Say, Lucy,
Yeah, Ricky?
a tramp came up to me in the street and he said he hadn't had a bite in weeks.
What'd you do, bite him? Opening butler joke, buddy, come on.
The master says to the butler, Jeeves, did you put fresh water in the goldfish bowl? And the butler says, why? They didn't drink up what I gave them last night.
You know that ancient joke about the guy who saves his regiment, shoots the cook?
No. How does it go?
As mentioned, the phone lines are open. 436-MeTV option 11. We're here for another, 18, 19 minutes. And turn down the sound when you call in. We have an open phone line right now. And we mentioned throughout the show, I think even at the beginning, that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of stories coming out of the war. And I don't care if it's World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq. There are thousands and thousands of stories coming out. And one of the reasons the Valor Museum exists is because people donate items. I want to roll a piece of videotape. It's called Jacket. B-roll of the jacket. Let's roll that piece of videotape, and I'll explain what you're looking at in the video right there, because people donate items each and every day to the museum. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of items. You're looking at a photo there of Harold Samuelian. He served in World War II. He was an Air Force pilot. His granddaughter, her name is Nikki Franco. Bob Speck is the man there that is with Nikki, and that was the bomber jacket worn by her grandfather, Harold Samuelian, born in Fresno, graduated from Fresno High. He since passed away a few years ago, and he was the class of 1939. Nikki, 19 years old. When her grandfather passed away, she was very young, about 5-6 years ago. She didn't know what to do with his bomber jacket and his military uniform. So as she got older, her boyfriend, 19 years old also, is now in the Air Force, and so he kind of encouraged her to donate the uniform of her grandfather to the Valor of Museum here in the city of Fresno. Mike, you might want to comment on this, because I talked to Nikki by telephone yesterday, and she was very inspired of the fact that she was able to donate this jacket. Look at this, World War II jacket.
Yes, this is a scenario that plays out probably about once a week. So many people have these artifacts and relics in their closet, and as time goes on, they can't figure out what to do with them. They know it's significant to their family. It's an emotional piece, and many times, and they just don't want it thrown away. So we will take that stuff, and we hold everything we bring in perpetuity, to where we don't get rid of it. We don't sell it on eBay or trade it off for something else, because when the family comes in and they want to see this thing on display, if we have room for it, and if it has a significance different from something hanging next to it, we will put it up, and they're able to see Grandpa's uniform.
Yeah, let's roll another piece of videotape, because we have actually 4 pieces of videotape from the donation given by Nikki Franco. Her grandfather, Harold Samuelian, a graduate of Fresno High back in 1939. Some other items donated there. Nikki very excited to do that, and it's awe-inspiring if you're able to donate a gift from the war that was like a pair of goggles like this, right, Mike? I mean,
right. Those would be something that you might find on a pilot or a tanker or something like that, with a sunscreen device attached to the top.
Right.
And they were made to last, and therefore 70 years later, still looks like it's in new condition.
Yeah, it really does, and that's Nikki right there showing other artifacts of her grandfather, who attended the old Fresno State College. You might recall, a couple of years there, played first-string violin in the Fresno Philharmonic back in his time, in his era. So he donated a lot of his time to the city of Fresno here before joining the Air Force. He was a fighter, a pilot, a bomber, and Nikki showing some pictures there, and there's some other artifacts in a book, which I believe we have right here. Which he also donated. You can hold that up, Mike, as well. But we're going to carry out with this videotape here till the bitter end. And, how many people do you get, say, a week, a month, that come in just as Nikki did? I know you touched on this earlier. She didn't know what to do with the items. So why not donate them? And once someone donates, what do you do with them?
Well,
do you keep them forever, or do you sell them on eBay, or what do you do with them?
No, we do not sell anything on eBay. We have a pretty good storage facility that has just probably almost as much in storage as we have on display. So as time goes along, we try to change displays up a little bit so it's interesting to the public the second time they come back.
Right.
And so these things are always incorporated in another manner in some way.
Got a call coming in. Good morning, caller. What's your question?
Hi. Actually, I just came in, and I see you guys are talking about World War II.
Yep.
And I know that the Armenian genocide has been completely forgotten by the majority of people, and
no, it hasn't.
People have been trying to deny for years. Well, no, I talked to people. People have been trying to deny for years that the Holocaust and the Jewish Holocaust. I don't know if I'm actually speaking about what the program's about today. But I've talked to some people, and there's this new thing, conspiracy theory going around, which I find appalling, which is that there were no Jewish people killed, that it was all a Jewish conspiracy to make the Germans look bad, that the bodies that were shown, that they're like Auschwitz, wherever, that those were actually Germans. And if you log on to the Southern Poverty Law Center, they are tracking right now 1,007 active hate groups in 2012. These people are denying that any of this stuff ever happened,
right. But
now they're saying that the Jewish people. Is there a way that we can leave a legacy to? I'm 56.
I think, ma'am, let me interrupt you just for a minute. Leave her on the line. Don't cut her off. I just want to say that I think the people that you're talking about, they're in the minority. I think the majority of the people recognize there was a Jewish Holocaust, that there was an Armenian genocide, even though it is not officially recognized by this Congress in this country, which it should be. There were more than 1.5 million murdered, slaughtered during the Armenian genocide. Yeah. So I think those people that you're talking about are in the minority. Would you not agree with that, Mike? And leave her up just for a minute so she can comment.
Oh, I do believe they're far in the minority.
Hello?
Yeah, just hang on.
Yes, they are.
Go ahead.
The thing is, the younger people, this person that I'm speaking about that told me this is actually a professor in a college in the Bay Area. I won't mention names, but he's 66 years old. He should know better. But these people, they put things on the web,
right,
and then people take that as the gospel truth.
Right.
I'm 56 years old, and I was probably in my 40s. I thought that the World War II Holocaust was the first Holocaust.
Yeah.
I did not know about the Armenian genocide until they started to try to push for official recognition, government things.
Yeah. Okay.
But I just want to know, that's ridiculous. 1,007 active hate groups are propagating this.
All right.
And the young people coming up, they need to know that these things happened. It wasn't a Jewish conspiracy. That's ridiculous. But
let me interrupt you because we're short on time. We get the gist of your point. I appreciate it very much. But again, Mike, I know we got to go to break, but I want you to comment about this because, you have to monitor what your kids see and read on the internet. There's no question about that. And not everything on the internet is truthful. And I believe that these people are in the minority. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. They're in a minority. Any kind of kook can put anything they want out there, and declare it to be the truth. You have to be able to filter out what's real and what's not. And I think any people or anyone using a degree of common sense based on historical facts would be able to conclude that it is, poor information or a lie or whatnot.
Yeah, we know the Jewish Holocaust
Absolutely.
happened. In fact, the United States during the war should have recognized it earlier. In fact, our government knew and didn't go in, according to documents I've read. But, in the Armenian genocide, of course, not recognized by this country. Hopefully that will happen, I hope, in my lifetime or in yours. 436-MeTV, option 11. Hey, if something is bothering you or you have a question for Mike, the head of the Legion of Valor Museum, call in, turn down the sound. We're back in just a moment on Connect with Me.
When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Back here and connect with me. If something is on your mind, my friends, do call in at 436-MeTV option 11. Mike Harris is here, the director of the Legion of Valor. By the way, how's our friend Bob Speck doing over there? He was the director, and you are the director now. So what happened? You guys just switch jobs, right?
Actually, no. We are still in the same place. Bob is the director. I'm the deputy director.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bob handles the day-to-day office affairs, and I pretty much do the generic operation of the museum.
Right. Need any help over there? Or?
Absolutely.
If you volunteers?
If you're a veteran and you have a little spare time and you'd like to come over and work as in the capacity of a docent, we're always looking for good people.
Good volunteers, anyway.
Good volunteers.
And how many hours a week can they volunteer?
Well, we don't limit anyone. Most of the fellows that are working on the high side of things, they'll maybe come down 2 to 3 days a week, or you can do just 1 day.
What are they involved in? Doing paperwork or what?
Usually it's greeting the guests that come in, our visitors, and then answering questions about what's in the museum, and sometimes telling their story.
All right. Another call coming in. Good morning. You're on Connect with me. Your question, please, quickly. We're short on time.
Yes, I just wanted to comment. If your family has artifacts from your family members' World War II service, don't let the children play with them or somebody use them for party costumes.
Yep.
My stepfather did that with his things, and my youngest brother destroyed them.
Yeah.
And he had things that nobody knew existed, and this is one of the reasons I want to get connected with these oral history people.
All right. If you want to contact Mike, your telephone number again is what?
498-0510.
All right. Just call or go down there. Put that map up real quick before we run the video. You're located where, Mike?
We're right across from the water tower between N and M Street on Fresno Street.
All right. Roll 2 last pieces of videotape called Service Bag, and the other one, the uniform. This is Nikki Franco. Once again, we kind of are highlighting her because she donated her grandfather's artifacts from World War II. He was a pilot. He graduated from Fresno High in 1939, as I said. And this is the service bag. And I talked to Nikki by phone yesterday, and she told me that when her grandfather passed away, Harold Samuelian, she was very hesitant about going through his bag because he was very protective of it even after the war. It was stored away. She didn't know what was in it. When he passed away, she did not go through it entirely because she felt that it would almost be an invasion of privacy to a certain extent. She didn't put it in that way, in that term, but you kind of get the gist of the idea. That's his uniform. And who's that standing next to Nikki there?
Well, that's our director, Mr. Bob Speck.
Yep.
He was there the day she brought the donation in and took charge of it, and I see they're going over it there to kind of probably give her a little history as to what she's looking at, maybe something she doesn't know about the uniform.
Yeah, and again, just to reiterate, those who called in, Nikki is just she's a person who lives here in Fresno, Nikki Franco. Her grandfather, Harold Samuelian, a well-known person here in the city, donating his World War II uniform. He served in the military and was a fighter pilot, and she didn't know what to do with the gear, and so that encourages other people, right, to do the same.
Correct. If you have the old uniforms and artifacts, if you don't have a place to put them with a relative or something where they'll be maintained, consider making a donation to the museum.
That uniform, by the way, looks like it's in perfect condition. The bomber jacket that she donated looked like it had a few holes in it. But I would imagine that most of the items that you get there are probably in pretty good shape, aren't they?
In most occasions, yes, they are, because they have been preserved, and and like the lady said, they weren't used for Halloween costumes or something like that.
Yeah.
So they usually are in fairly decent condition.
Final thoughts. We have like 30 seconds. What do you want people to know about the museum that they don't already know?
Well, we are a museum that teaches history, not about war, not about how many bullets the machine gun will fire. Those are the common questions that you get from the layperson. But we teach about why America hasn't been involved in these conflicts. And with that, I'll close for today, and I hope you all come visit our facility.
Mike Harris, the Deputy Director of the Legion of Valor Museum here in the city of Fresno. Hey, God bless you, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right. That's going to do it for us today. Tomorrow on the program, hey, it's a big one. A member, an actual active member of the Pittsburgh Steelers of the National Football League. He's a defensive back at corner. He'll be here live in the studio. And don't miss it. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. today.
More of me? Me? Go to MeTVFresno.com for schedules, information on your favorite shows, videos, pictures, and more. Go to MeTVFresno.com today.